This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. There's nothing sweeter than baking cookies during the holidays. With Prime, I get all my ingredients delivered right to my door, fast and free, no last-minute store trips needed. And of course, I blast my favorite holiday playlist on Amazon Music. It's the ultimate soundtrack for creating unforgettable memories. From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 1.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. Across the United States of America, the phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, very, very happy to have you. Text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Get the show notes, the live stream, the podcast, everything your heart desires in terms of the show. Now, we got to actually start with foreign breaking news. Israel has discovered an amazing technique to sterilize terrorists. I did not see Israeli remote vasectomies as the story I would start with today, but Israel has just sterilized between 1,200 and 1,500 terrorists. Sadly, some of the Hezbollah terrorists died during the vasectomy procedures that Israel was doing, exploding testicles across Lebanon today. Israel, somehow, this is actually Tom Clancy level stuff. The Israeli Secret Service, the Mossad, Shin Bet, one of them, discovered how to trigger the pagers of Hezbollah terrorists to explode. And across Lebanon today, in the last 2 hours, pagers have been exploding. They even got the Iranian ambassador to Lebanon. Now, why is this important? So, children, back when your parents were young, there was something called a pager. They didn't have cell phones. And some parents would buy their children pagers, and you could dial a phone number, and this little bitty device would go beep, 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 and you could look and see, it's a particular phone number that I know calling. In some cases, you could even generate small text messages, call mom, or for doctors, come to the hospital. But more particularly, drug dealers. Drug dealers loved the pagers. And you could page your drug dealer, and they would come give you drugs. Into the 90s and then into the 2000s, cell phones took off. And doctors slowly gave up the pagers, as did moms and dads, the drug dealers and the terrorists. They've kept the pagers. Now, for those of you who don't know, the pager is a little device. And you tend to clip it to your belt or put it in your pocket. Your front pocket. Your front pocket. Right there with your keys. And next to, well, if you're a guy, that. And today, Israel experimented in revolutionary new vasectomy technology. The pagers of Hezbollah terrorists went boom. So here's what happens. You get the list of numbers for the pagers of the terrorists. Now, how do you get the list of numbers for the pagers? This isn't hard. Do you really think that these 1,200 individuals are paying their pager bill? No. Hezbollah is paying the bill for all the pagers. You join Hezbollah and you get a pager. and you put it in your pocket. And so Israel somehow got the list of all the phone numbers tied to all the pagers of all the terrorists in Lebanon, an entire country. And somehow they were able to figure out, and it's not that hard, these pagers use batteries. The batteries can be overheated. Those overheated batteries cause explosions. They blow up. And well, Israel was able to send a signal to each of the pagers to overheat the batteries, to cause the batteries to go boom. And so the batteries and the testicles of the terrorists went boom. And many of the terrorists bled out from the explosions. So it wasn't just that they got vasectomied, they got died. They're dead. They went boom, straight to Allah. This is remarkable technology. This is impressive. This is impressive stuff. I gotta say, kudos to Israel for being able to pull this off. In all seriousness, this is Tom Clancy stuff. So there was an author. He is deceased. His name, Tom Clancy. And Tom Clancy wrote some brilliant books. Now, you need to know that there are still books being produced in Tom Clancy's name. Tom Clancy's dead, franchised out his name, and towards the end of his life, he was continuing to turn out books with a co-writer. But when he was in his prime, Tom Clancy wrote a series of books about the CIA. Jack Ryan was the lead spy. They started with Hunt for Red October, which was turned into a famous movie with Sean Connery and Alec Baldwin, a great movie in its own right, a fabulous book. Then there was Cardinal in the Kremlin, which is a book that should have been turned into a movie, but with the fall of the Soviet Union, they'd have to rebrand it somehow. There was Patriot Games. Patriot Games was one of my favorites. So Alec Baldwin left, and Harrison Ford came in as Jack Ryan. And they continued to make these books. So you had Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger. Fantastic books about Cold War spying. Hunt for Red October. If you want a great book to read, Hunt for Red October to this day stands out even with the fall of the Soviet Union. A brilliant book to read. Patriot Games as well. Cardinal in the Kremlin, actually, a brilliant book. But he would talk about the gadgetry and the wizardry of what the spooks could do, the CIA could do, what the Kremlin could do. In fact, if you go to Washington, D.C., there's an International Spy Museum, and you could go to the Spy Museum, and you can see this very James Bond sort of stuff that they do. Now, it's never as cool as what James Bond had, but it was still amazing technology. But I'm reminded of something that Tom Clancy, in one of his books, wrote. I cannot remember which book he wrote. But it was basically sometimes the most basic stuff is the coolest cloak and dagger stuff. Not his exact words, but sometimes you can do more with the basic stuff than with the fancy stuff. And the pagers are very basic technology. Now, back in the day, pagers used AAA or AA batteries. These days, most pagers use lithium batteries that are rechargeable. You put it on like a little pad, like I put my iPhone on, and you charge it without thinking about it. You pick it back up. You never have to swap out the batteries. Lithium batteries are fantastic. They hold a lot of energy. That's why so many of our devices, my laptop in front of me, my iPad in front of me, my iPhone, my Apple Watch in front of me, they all use lithium batteries. But lithium batteries are actually to some degree unstable. It's why, for example, when you're on a plane, you're not allowed to put lithium batteries in the luggage compartment, because if they ever do catch fire, they want to be able to respond quickly to them, as opposed to they're in the luggage hold catching everything on fire and the plane burns up. Lithium batteries have some instability. And one of the things that you can do with a lithium battery is you can overheat it. If you drop it, if it's damaged, you can cause it to start a chain reaction that overheats it. But more importantly, you can trigger certain connections to cell phones, to laptops, to iPads, to pagers that begin the chain reaction of overheating the battery. And once the battery begins to overheat, it reaches a tipping point through which there's no turning back, and eventually it catches fire and it explodes. So let's think about this. Israel had to have sources that could give it the phone numbers of all the Hezbollah pagers, because people with pagers in Lebanon who were not with Hezbollah, their pagers did not go boom. It was just the people who were the terrorists for Hezbollah, who had ties to Hezbollah. What we can be certain is that the Iranian ambassador to Lebanon clearly had ties to and was communicating with Hezbollah. Now, this is something we always knew, but today we now know the Iranian ambassador to Lebanon is a victim of the Israeli vasectomy technology. This is really wild stuff. They have incapacitated over 1,200 people spontaneously, and the videos are wild. There's one video of security camera footage at a grocery store in Lebanon where a man is shopping for groceries. He's standing next to someone, and all of a sudden there's an explosion, and the one man with the pager falls over next to the other man. The other man jumps out of the way, startled. Someone else is there. You've got CCTV, closed-circuit television footage of somebody driving a scooter down the road in Beirut, and suddenly, boom, he falls over, dead on the scooter. This is happening all over the country. It's not just in Beirut. North to south in Lebanon, the pagers have been exploding. I left my phone on the other side of the room just to be on the safe side. You never know. Want to make sure you're not on some list. Wife wants you to have a vasectomy. She's called the Mossad. This is incredible stuff. Now, here's the thing. Where does all of this play out? This plays out in that a lot of these 1,200 terrorists for Hezbollah have been trying to cross into Israel and have also been plotting mass weapons shipments around into Egypt through tunnels into Hamas territory. So Hezbollah is in the north of Israel. Hamas is in the south of Israel. Hezbollah and Hamas are both funded by Iran. Hamas in the south is fighting Israel because of the October 7th situation. Hezbollah has responded with Iranian funds to launch air war, missiles and drones into northern Israel. And many people from northern Israel have had to move south in Israel, and they can't go home to their northern Israeli territories. And meanwhile, what Hezbollah is doing is it's also, it's coastal, just like Israel, gets ships, sails down to Egypt, gives armaments to Hamas, and Hamas runs them up from the south into Israel in a perpetual arms cycle. Many of these terrorists are involved in this. Well, were, because they're all dead today. Not all of them died. Some of them are just critically wounded. Hospitals in Lebanon are overwhelmed today. I am very impressed that Israel was able to pull this off. Steve has already emailed me. Steve cannot believe that I am willing to believe that Israel was able to pull this off. Steve does not believe, apparently, that Israel is capable of doing this. I am very convinced Israel is capable of doing this because the Israeli Mossad and Shin Bet do some amazing things. And Israel knew exactly what it was doing and knew how to target these people. And Israel, you should note, was not saying they were responsible. It was very obvious when it came out that the only pagers in Lebanon that were exploding were the ones tied to Hezbollah terrorists. And Israel like, don't look at us. No idea what you're talking about, as they giggled. Kudos to Israel for being able to incapacitate these terrorists. Now, let's extrapolate this. The United States, well, we have a war against us right now. I'm not talking about China. I'm talking about the drug cartels from Mexico. Why can't we accidentally do something similar? This technology, Israel just proved it can be done, and it works. It's something that every other government should be looking at, and we should be considering this when we're dealing with these terrorists that have invaded this country from Venezuela, from Mexico, and elsewhere. This is a very easy way to figure out who these people are and, well, incapacitate them. And, you know, the iPhone and the Android device, they're larger than the pagers and have much bigger batteries than the pagers. Those pagers went boom. What would the phones do? Maybe government should start analyzing how can we track these people and disable a large group of a terrorist network that is funneling drugs into the United States. But I digress from Israel.
With Lululemon, the real gift happens when they're living in it. When you give the fan favorite everywhere belt bag, the real gift is... And when the ultra-soothing Rest Feel slides are the gift, you're really giving them... This holiday, Lululemon makes it easy to give little luxuries that go beyond. Open the moment. Shop now at Lululemon.com.
Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. Real quick, the story continues to evolve pretty quickly. So here are more details now. And I actually during commercial break was able to exchange some information with a guy who actually I know to be an expert on this. So we're now up to 2,750 wounded individuals. The number I told you was 1,200. 8 people are killed. So here's what we know from Lebanon. According to the Wall Street Journal now, a Hezbollah official says that the affected pagers were from a new shipment received in recent days. Hundreds of fighters had such devices, and they believe it was malware on the devices. Now, the guy that I'm texting with says there are a couple of things. One, if they are from new devices, they could have been tampered with and a small explosive embedded, but more likely what happens is you can generate a chain reaction in a lithium battery, even a small one, that will generate essentially a steam explosion. As the battery begins to heat, the internal components begin to melt, steam is generated, it's in a contained environment, and it then explodes with a lot of force, which is why 2,750 people wounded, but only 8 dead. The explosion would not be enough to kill most people, except depending on where they had the pager on their body. That could have caused a problem. So it could be a malware deployment, which is what Hezbollah is speculating. It could be a signal deployment where Israel is somehow able to generate a signal to those batteries that force them to overheat. Or it could actually be a small explosive device on the pager. That being said, most likely, given the number of people affected, the fact that they didn't catch that there was any sort of device implanted in the pagers, and the fact only 8 people died, the odds are most likely that Israel, if what Hezbollah says is to be confirmed, Israel tampered with the batteries to cause the batteries to malfunction. That it all happened at 3:30 p.m. Beirut time suggests a signal being generated to the phones that triggered malware, according to the news reports now and also the person I spoke to. So a lot of people are thinking big explosions. So clearly there had to be bombs in the pagers, but that doesn't appear to be the case. It appears to be the case that they did cause the lithium-ion batteries to generate a chain reaction that caused a steam explosion, injuring 2,750 people, killing 8 people. We're still finding out more, though, rapidly developing story, but the numbers of wounded continue to go up. Hospitals in Lebanon are overwhelmed. Good for Israel. Now, let's keep talking about technology. Let me tell you about Vision Computers. They're going to build you a computer. They're going to save you money. They're going to build you something that lasts a whole lot longer than what you get at the one-size-fits-all big box store. And then they're going to be your tech support. So if you have any questions about your computer, how to use it, you got a problem, you need help with email or printer, you're going to get a phone number. You call them, 15 seconds or less, they give you the answer. But now let's say you have Vision Computer, or you want Vision Computers help and you didn't buy your computer from them. Well, with Vision Computers, what they can do is for $179 a year per computer, they can also give you that phone number you call, and they'll be your tech support solution, even though you didn't buy your computer from them. And just like all these other people who bought their computers from Vision, 15 seconds or less, you get the answer. So you don't have to have the in-house IT guy. Vision can take care of it for you. All you do is go to visioncomputers.com or call them at 404-COMPUTE. Call Vision at 404-COMPUTE, and Vision Computers can take over your tech support for you. 404-COMPUTER, visioncomputers.com, nationwide. Hello there. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the show, I am happy to have you. And please do text the word Army to 33777. As we start going around the country, we want to be able to let you know when we're going to be there. For those of you listening on KRMG, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We're going to be out there November 7th. We're sorting on where the venue is going to be, looking for the sponsors to help and all that sort of stuff right now. And KRNG is handling all that stuff. But we're going to be out. It'll be the first post-election debriefing that we do. It'll be in Tulsa, Oklahoma, November 7th. Time and venue is being arranged right now, but looking forward to it. So if you text the word Army to 33777, we'll be able to send you a link so that you can RSVP when all that gets set up and see us in Tulsa. Looking forward to seeing everybody out there. Now, I look, we're going to get into the conversations and stuff about the second assassination attempt on Donald Trump and the Calvin ball the media is playing, but there's actually other news that I think we really need to pay attention to first. This is a local story in Rome, Georgia. I'm up there on the radio, and this is just a story that all of us get to hear on a regular basis in the United States these days. Here's the headline from WSB TV. Mother of 3 killed, 1-year-old daughter critically injured after head-on DUI crash in Floyd County. 2 people are dead, and a suspected DUI driver is behind bars following a head-on crash earlier this month. According to Rome police, Omar Garcia was spotted driving a black Dodge Charger that turned right from Lavender Drive onto Shorter Avenue. Officials said Garcia was speeding, which prompted a chase. Rome Police Department learned that the Charger was a red-eye edition, which is equipped with a supercharger and generates 797 horsepower. The Charger vanished, and police called off the chase and issued a lookout to all nearby officers. Moments later, another officer traveling south on Riverside Parkway spotted the Charger at a distance, still speeding eastbound on Turner McCall Boulevard. Once the officer activated their lights and tried to follow the Charger, the officer arrived at the scene of a severe head-on crash involving the Charger and a Honda Accord. The wreck resulted in the death of Kadrian LaMiracle Harris, 23, and Malik Crystal Henderson, 23. According to a GoFundMe, Harris was the mother of 3 children. Her 1-year-old daughter was critically injured. Kendra Moten, the organizer of the GoFundMe, identified herself as Harris's big sister, and the 1-year-old is Riley Harris. Passengers in the Charger sustained minor injuries and were hospitalized. The Floyd County Sheriff's Office said Garcia was traveling 80 miles per hour in a 35-mile-per-hour speed zone. Garcia was arrested and charged with 2 counts of vehicular homicide, 1 count of serious injury by vehicle, DUI, driving without a license, fleeing, attempting to elude, reckless driving, and driving too fast for conditions. He was booked into the Floyd County Jail. Additionally, the Floyd County Sheriff's Office says Omar Garcia has a hold through the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, ICE. ICE. There you go. Another one. Another person here who ICE was looking for, who probably shouldn't have been here, that got in through the Biden-Harris administration policies. I want to play you this. This is Bill Malugin on Fox News. Did you know how Joe Biden and Kamala Harris now say that the number of border crossings of illegal aliens has gone down? The number of border crossings of illegal aliens has gone down. You know how they did it? Listen.
Record high illegal crossings down at the southern border have obviously been a huge political headache for the Biden administration. So at the start of 2023, they created 2 new programs to allow migrants to come into the U.S. legally, bypassing Border Patrol entirely. And according to new CBP data, those Biden programs have now allowed more than 1.3 million migrants to come into the U.S. So take a look at this. According to that CBP data, about 530,000 migrants have now flown into the U.S. as part of the the Biden administration's controversial mass parole program for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans. It's called the CHNV program. Now, more than 200,000 of them have been Haitians coming in, and at least 2 of those Haitians were arrested for sexually assaulting children this year. Take a look. Earlier this month, Haitian national Akeem Mark Desire was arrested for allegedly molesting a 10-year-old boy in Massachusetts. He first flew into the U.S. as part of the CHNV parole program in June of 2023. Then back in March, another Haitian national, Corey Alvarez, was arrested for aggravated child rape. That's after prosecutors say he raped a girl in a migrant hotel outside of Boston. He also flew into the U.S. as part of the CHNV parole program back in June of 2023. Now, there's a second program. According to CBP data, since January 2023, more than 800,000 migrants have now been allowed into the U.S. via the Biden administration's use of the controversial CBP1 cell phone app. That allows migrants to book appointments at ports of entry to be released into the U.S. That includes nearly 45,000 migrants last month alone, an average of nearly 1,500 migrants coming in every single day. And this year, Kenal Baptiste, a Haitian national who came into the U.S. in July 2023 via that cell phone app, was arrested in New York and charged with a double murder.
So they've reduced the number of illegal aliens coming into the country by creating programs that allow them to come in the country and designate them as allowed to be here. They've essentially cooked the books, which is what they've been doing on the economy. It's what they've been doing on crime. It's what they've been doing on illegal immigration. This is one of the very important points to be made. You know how, for example, they tried to fact check Donald Trump at the debate to say that actually crime is down in the country. 2 things. 1, the FBI changed how it collects crime data. And many of the major cities in the country stopped reporting their crime data to the FBI. Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Baltimore, New Orleans, St. Louis, New York, among others, stopped reporting their crime data to the FBI. So you can't say, looking at the FBI data, that crime is down because major cities that are hotbeds of crime stopped reporting to it. Second, the other issue is a lot of people have stopped reporting a number of crimes. For example, shoplifting crimes are down, theft crimes are down, but that's not actually true. It's that people have stopped reporting those crimes in a number of areas of this country because they know it's not going to get enforced. So why bother? They cook the books and tell you that you got to believe the data. The data overstated employment in this country by 1 million people, and every month they've been revising it down. And now the Biden administration has been telling us the number of illegal aliens coming into this country is down. And as Bill Malugin at Fox News has discovered, one of the things they did is they created new programs so that illegal aliens can come into this country, bypass the border system, and they can be considered allowed to be here. They're not legal residents. They're allowed to be here pending processing, and more than one of them has committed a crime. And now we have 2 women in Rome, Georgia, dead because of someone who came here due to the Biden-Harris administration policies of an open border. We have multiple young women in the United States murdered because of it. We have young men murdered because of it. We have people killed in driving incidents because of it. You can tell me all you want that actually illegal aliens are less likely to commit crime than people who are legally allowed to be here and American citizens. And that's all well and good, except all of these people killed by illegal aliens would be alive, not because of legal citizens killing them, but because of the illegal aliens. You can tell me I'm not supposed to use the word illegal alien, that that's racist, but all you're trying to do is to distract from the fact that the Biden-Harris administration has decided to play word games and cook books instead of dealing with the problem. What is infuriating to me as well is how the Republicans are not every single day talking about this issue. Why talk about illegal aliens taking the lives of Americans on a near daily basis in this country when you can tweet about your hatred of Taylor Swift? There are very real problems. Much of the American press corps and the Democratic Party would prefer you not pay attention to the problems. In fact, Many of them would prefer to cook the books to make it look like the problem's not there, even though you and I and everyone else knows the problem is there. But also one of the problems is the Republicans just keep getting distracted, or at least certain Republicans keep getting distracted and not talking about the issue that really matters. Americans are getting killed by illegal aliens who have been allowed into this country by the Biden-Harris administration. And you know what the pushback is from the Biden-Harris administration and the media is that, well, it would be unconscionable to do a mass roundup of all of these illegal aliens and deport them. How dare we try to deport the people who aren't supposed to be here? It's their Calvin ball. They keep moving the goalposts on us. They say, well, yes, we agree with you that we have too many illegal aliens in the country, so let's deport them. No, we can't deport them. That would be cruel and unusual punishment to people who aren't even supposed to be here. They just keep moving the goalposts. They keep rewriting the rules. The fact of the matter is, this is an issue that the Republicans actually should be talking about on a regular basis. And at the senior levels, they seem to get easily distracted by other things. You don't have to talk about dogs and cats in Springfield, Ohio, being stolen and cooked. You can talk about Kadrian Harris and Malik Henderson killed by Omar Garcia. You can talk about Laken Riley murdered in Athens, Georgia. You can talk about all the other Americans whose lives have been cut short because of the open border policies of the Biden-Harris administration. You can talk about the economic fallout. You can talk about the gangs coming into the country. You don't have to make stuff up to try to get the media to pay attention to it. You can repeat on a daily basis the things that are real, that are outrageous, that should outrage Americans on a daily basis. But Republicans, too clever by half, have decided they'd rather invent clever lies that are salacious to get the media to pay attention than to actually on a daily basis mention the names of the dead Americans killed by illegal aliens, which in my mind would be a much more powerful way to convey the same story, the fallout and consequences of the open border policies of the Biden-Harris administration, which is now creating programs so that they can avoid counting people as illegal aliens and claim instead they're allowed to be here, so we shouldn't hold the data against them. They're cooking the books to hide the fallout of their policies, and Republicans regularly should be calling them out. Yet again, more Americans have been killed by illegal aliens. And for those of you who yet again want to say, but, Americans are more violent and commit more crimes, maybe so, but these people would be alive except for the illegal aliens, not the Americans. But everybody wants to be distracted and focus on other things. Now, let's focus for a moment on the secret war on cash that the American government is engaging in. I've got a copy of Swiss America's report. I know I knew some of this. Like if you look at American dollar bills, in addition to the serial numbers, they have all sorts of anti-counterfeiting measures. But in addition to those things, they have means to track your spending. So you think that your cash purchases are anonymous purchases and secure, and they may not be. Digital currency as well. The federal government wants to track all that stuff. They want to audit you. They want to tax you. Between bank collapses and everything else going on and interest rates right now, we got the secret war on cash to worry about. In Swiss America, the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years, wants to educate you about this. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau, and they can help you protect your assets. All you need to do is get their report, The Secret War on Cash. It is completely free. You can get a copy by calling or texting my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 800-289-2646. Text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 800-289-2646. The All-Out War on Cash includes digital forms of currency, and it's growing. So read the report, The Secret War on Cash, for free. Just mention Eric, E-R-I-C-K, when you call or text 800-289-2646. Again, the report is completely free. All you do is text my name or call and mention my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646. 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply. Hello there. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number 877-973-7425 if you want to be on the program. This is mostly for my boss, Ken. We don't talk about ratings a lot on radio, and my gosh, you know, I've gotten angry people. And, you know, the funniest thing is the most hate I get these days is actually from from diehard Trump supporters who just feel like I'm not sufficiently enough on the team, therefore they need a new radio host. And I very politely respond to them when they tell me I'm bankrupting radio stations across the country, that this is a business, and if my ratings were bad, I wouldn't be on their local radio show. But I can assure you my ratings are fantastic. In fact, in many markets, up significantly, not because of the election cycle either. It's trending up well before. But so I'm a well-listened radio show host in Atlanta, Georgia. And going to a Braves game last night it's both very awkward and also very, very nice. So David and Christy from Alpharetta, he's a police officer up there, he and his wife, that was in the Delta 360 area, and they stopped and asked if they could have a picture and chatted with them, and then several others. But so the point here is my humbling story. So I had got very good seats, was taking some advertisers to the game. We got great seats right up by the fence, and had to go to the bathroom. On my way out of the bathroom, I got stopped by a couple. They saw me, and they're like, "Oh, it's Eric Erickson. Hey, would you mind having a picture?" I never have a problem. People want to take a picture. So take a picture with them. Well, another couple sees that they're taking a picture with me, and they come over and say, "Oh, love your show. Could we have a picture?" Take a picture with the second couple. So then this guy sees me, and the guy sees me take a picture with him and says, "Hey, do you mind if I get a picture with you? I love your show." No big deal. Take a picture. So a fourth person sees me, comes over, has his picture taken with me, and then looks at me and says, "So what do you do for the Braves?" He had no idea who I was. Absolutely no idea. So I don't work with the Braves. He says, "Why are people getting their picture taken with you?" I said, "I do a radio show in Atlanta." He says, "Oh, okay." I had no idea. It was a deeply humbling moment after taking pictures with all these people who knew I was. This guy, absolutely no idea. Now, you would think, by the way, that just by virtue of me being on the radio, that it would be easy for me to walk around because, I mean, as long as they don't hear me speak, they don't know. Oh, no, they all know. They all know. There are some who hear my voice, but by and large, I mean, my face has been on billboards. They all know what I look like. It was very, very fine. People were coming up all night long. I was very flattered to do it, but it was very funny. This guy, I mean, one person sees another person, and then that last guy, he's like, "So what do you do with the Braves?" I'm like, "You have no idea who I am." At least no one talked to me while I was peeing. That was good. That usually happens. All right, we got to move on. We have to move on to the subject of the day. Beyond the exploding pagers to Donald Trump and, well, the left's reaction to the second assassination attempt. This hour of the program brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. If you're buying a building, building a building, if you're buying a franchise, buying out a business partner, or you need a heavy equipment loan, they can move very fast with loans. They make their own lending decisions. They know how to help businesses grow. They'd love to help you, and they can help any business in the United States, including Alaska and Hawaii. So reach out to them. FirstLibertyGA.com. FirstLibertyGA.com. Let First Liberty help you. If they can help your business grow, they'd love to. We'll be back